Origin Chance, Home City Reaction. This is the ridiculously random nature of the gorillas. Ah, okay, I didn't know that was the case. I mean, I would not think random when it comes to like a nature of certain animals because you need a lot of complexity for randomness to occur, I guess. But yeah, gorillas close to humans. Why not? In a way, right? Apes are close to humans, so it kind of makes sense. I don't know what randomness is talking about. Gorillas are usually known as calm creature, right? They are calm. That's why all the, let's just say, all the gorillas that was put down, right? Uh, it was just fucked up, right? What was that like? Now I forgot the name. Harambe and things like that. Yeah, there you go. Because a kid fell down in the zoo or something, which was kind of fucked up. You always see gorillas as calm creatures, sometimes fighting, but yeah, obviously that happens. But yeah, it's always calm and just like in the zoo, showing people that ass or something. So yeah, let's watch one. This is on the channel Casual Geographic. Always awesome channel, always awesome content. Yeah, let's watch it. Remember, people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way, I know which type of videos to react to more. I like obviously zoology type videos like this. I've been watching Casual Geographic, Tier Zoo, this is a Frank one. So if you have any specific video or other channel that you want me to react to, comment down. And yeah, let's watch it.
Oh my god.
The greatest trick Hollywood ever pulled was
Just said it.
convincing the world that gorillas were something to be scared of. Whole time it's an ADHD Uber ape built like a practical joke. The gorillini is the opposite of a sleeper build. They look like a flash pass to being full-time horizontal, when really gorillas are unintentionally the most unserious animals on the planet. Almost every character trait that made them feared back in the day actually makes them adorably ridiculous when you have context. Like you've seen this picture, a gorilla beating its chest and maybe you next has to be one of the most intimidating sights in nature. The sound, though. That was not edited. Whole time this display sounds like an assault on bubble wrap. King Kong had you misunderstood. Only in a movie would you see this and hear the god of thunder. It's more like someone weaponizing bubble tea in a straw. Put on a blindfold and it's not threatening anybody but Bubble Buddy, because it sounds like his family flatlined by firing squad. It's fitting. It was widely believed that the peg pounding was considered an act of war, but newer research says that it might help gorillas avoid conflict altogether. In a study done by Edward Wright of the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Germany, it was found that the biggest, most brolic mountain gorillas actually produce the sounds with the lowest frequency. Something about larger air sacs near the larynx, but it's considered an honest signal of competitive ability, and between two prime apes, the one with the higher frequency flesh tap might just tap out of a fight before it.
Yeah, basically that's like a gun, right? Yeah, if you if two people have gun, it's like fight's gonna be avoided because nobody wants to shoot anyone. Deterrence. So this is a deterrence. That's what that is. All right.
Happens. So the chest beating actually allows smaller gorillas to avoid a fight they'd almost certainly lose, and lets gorillas choose the best option, since bigger males tend to be the first choice for intercourse. That's gonna be painfully ironic in a minute, but we'll get to that bridge. The other thing that apparently terrified early explorers into introverts was their jaw work. Gorillas have top 5 most inappropriate dental work for their profession, right up there with camels and the gelada monkey. It's almost divine intervention that a lawnmower with limbs has a stronger bite force than lions, hyenas, and even a grizzly bear. And if you watch gorilla ASMR, you can literally see the muscles attached to the sagittal crest. That crest
Did you just say grizzly bear? They have higher, jaw strength than grizzly bears. Whoa. I mean, I remember watching that video about silverback gorilla, Tier Zoo video, and like they did talk about that in that, but yeah, this is just mind blowing.
is why the gorilla has a built-in mohawk. Lucky for literally everybody, gorillas only use those vice grip jaws to crush about 40 pounds of food a day. And you'll never be more grateful for their grocery list until you watch one peel a tree like a banana. All that food would mean nothing if they didn't also have a host of gut bacteria to help break it all down. But because all that bacterial work also produces gas, gorillas are almost in a perpetual state of flatulence. A troop of IBS apes break more wind than a bloated beached whale, and it's so constant that researchers occasionally track traveling families through their southbound symphony. Scientists even used a gorilla-coded camera to gain insight into the secret society of this steroid simian, and what they found was that a well-fed family could blow a hole through the ozone layer. And out both ends. According to late gorilla expert Diane Fossey,
Don't give people ideas, man. Okay, cows are bad for the environment because of the methane they produce. Don't eat steak because there's less cows. You don't eat steak, so there's less cow. Now, like, okay, We don't need gorillas because they produce a lot of like greenhouse effect. I can already see that shit coming. Like, okay, are we going to find everything now? Humans might produce the biggest greenhouse effect because we had 8 billion of them. Are you going to go after humans now?
Gorillas burp as an act of goodwill and contentment. And you know, in some cultures, letting it out the attic is considered a compliment. Well, they might as well have gotten it from a knuckle-walking cow ape. On a less audibly offensive note, gorillas have also been recorded singing while they eat. Researchers refer to it as a chorus of appreciation. It's pretty cool, check it out. Basically living in their version of a giant gingerbread house has gorilla gangs singing out both ends. It's also a fact that they sing louder when eating their favorite foods like this banana tree stalk. And the funniest thing is, in the wild, the lead singer is actually the silverback. Science says he uses singing, or well, more like humming, to tell the group when it's time to stop and eat. And you know the law, when silverback speaks, everyone listens, and when he sings, it's time for fixings. But I'm not hungry. Okay, jeez. It makes sense. Few things are more dominant than the lead silverback male. You know he's the one calling all the shots and making all the decisions for a troop of up to and sometimes over 30. One could say that is the peak male form. And you remember that painfully ironic thing I promised? Well, it's about that time, but before you judge me, I'm just gonna remind you that this is strictly educational. But I would feel weird if I didn't say this, so if you're a child, an adult with a child, or an adult who thinks they're a child, skip to this timestamp right here. Or don't, I can't stop you, but don't let your parents blame me if you don't. Here's an ad while you consider the cost of curiosity. So, fun fact about a silverback, they're the largest apes in the world, can weigh in the neighborhood of 500 pounds, and when their privates stand at attention, they're about 3/4 short of 2 inches. They don't just have the smallest waist snake of any ape, it's widely believed gorillas have the smallest member of any mammal relative to body size.
King Kong ain't got on me!
I promise you he doesn't. In fact, if we scaled for size, you have a better chance at Subway of seeing a foot long than from a Giga Kong. I swear I'm not just using this for richer jokes.
I mean, you can now appreciate why King Kong was so angry, right? You can see why King Kong go after like Godzilla or something and punch Godzilla, and Godzilla like, God damn, where'd that come from? Yeah, you don't know what I go through with every day, man. That's where that come from. And Godzilla's like, yeah, I understand that.
There's actually a reason gorillas ended up hung like a hamster. When you look at how all the great apes measure up, you'll 1. End up on a list, incognito can't save you, but 2. You'll realize humans have more appendical advantages than just a long thumb.
Hey, how's it going?
Chimps, bonobos, and orangutans are roughly about the same, but nature seemed to maliciously undercut gorillas in particular. Believe it or not, it's a direct reflection of how they live. Chimpanzees live in polyandrous packs, where females can mate with multiple males, so there was evolutionary pressure for them to develop heavy huevos, since the more baby batter one can produce, the better chances one of his little swimmers wins the race to reality, which led to chimps having a massive man purse. I feel dirty. With humans, it's believed that earlier variants may have selected for the more groinally gifted, especially with humans being more bipedal. It'd probably be more of a factor. Eventually, that led to humans having more to flex under the waistband than just 9mm. But with gorillas, it's different. They often live in harems where all the females in a group practice their multiplication tables with the one silverback, which means they didn't have the selective pressure of dealing with other males like chimps, or even the pressure of females having a choice like humans. Also, another theory is that a larger Nixon might have helped shovel out rival nectar. Again, something a back of silver doesn't have to worry about. It actually ties back to the chest beating. Being an absolute unit was already so much of a flex that evolution didn't have to juice their stats in other ways. But unfortunately, it means gorillas are built like an anti-steroid ad. But also consider this, silverbacks are the embodiment of what podcast bros call an alpha male. If humans were truly meant to take cues from them, forget Snickers, we'd be packing a Skittle. And with that, I am going to power wash my search history.
Seriously, like imagine like clips that looks like penis. That's what his Google search must have been, or YouTube search, right? I don't know. Where does he find? Was stock footage website?
Also, silverbacks aren't the aggressive jocks that movies made them out to be. Turns out, they're a lot more involved in raising children than we thought. Research actually shows that if a gorilla were to lose its mother, as long as it still isn't living off her milk, they still have an equal shot at surviving. It's cause silverbacks don't give child support, they are the child support. It's even been proven that gorillas are more attracted to the sensitive, child-nurturing males, and not really the aggressive bully types. Which is probably why they put up with so much disrespect, and why the father instinct might not just apply to gorillas. You might remember September in 1986, a child fell into a gorilla enclosure, crazy how often that happens, and 400-pound Yumbo went over and tried to comfort the unconscious boy. Even when the boy came to and understandably panicked, instead of wilding out at the sudden disturbance, Yumbo calmly guided the other gorillas to a corner of the enclosure while first responders rescued the boy. Ironically, this was during a time the majority thought gorillas were bloodthirsty savages patrolling the underbrush of Africa. That literally could not have been further from the truth. In fact, it led to one of the most infuriating arguments.
Yeah, it's just fucked up, man. It pisses me off when, yeah, people have this really bad misconception about certain animal, and that is the animal that is like actually nurturing. So a human kid is like, oh wait a minute, that kid is like scared of us, so let's just walk away and guiding everybody away. That's some next level shit. Obviously, you can understand the pissed off people when Harambe like, yeah, got shot and like multiple instances like that, right? When an animal is like that, I mean, there's one side of like people like you can't take chance with a kid. A kid is there, like you have to protect it type of way. But there's other side of like maybe you should have like studied gorillas more and understood like gorillas not gonna hurt a kid or something. I don't know, man. It's just fucked up.
I keep letting myself get baited into. Anytime someone brings up gorilla versus grizzly, all I can think is, you don't know gorillas, and you really don't know grizzlies. Forget bears, there's cases of leopards causing problems for a plus-size primate, with records finding past tense gorillas with puncture wounds around the head and neck. Now, leopard attacks on a full-grown male are rare. But if a 150-pound big cat is a genuine threat, a 10-foot, 900-pound revenant plot device would slaughter a roid monkey. And really, the more you think about it, the more disrespectful the question is. Y'all stay playing on a grizzly's body, especially since the gorilla himself wouldn't even want that smoke for all.
Yeah, basically, this is like who would win between Conor McGregor and like Francis Ngannou or Brock Lesnar. They're literally twice the size. They're all fighters, right? Skill matters, but up to a point. Both are skilled. After that, size matters a lot. Right, it's just like completely different weight category, let's just say.
All that bulk, they definitely rather run away than run a fade. Imagine thinking they can match up with a grizzly when gorillas can get humbled by a change in weather. And I just love that gorillas in captivity and in the wild have no problems playing in the water, but when it falls out the sky, it's suddenly unacceptable. Also, I don't know if you've seen that corgi that gave its owner a heart attack until she realized the only victim was a jar of jam. Turns out gorillas might have done the same to early explorers. One could only imagine seeing the blood-soaked fangs of this behemoth up close, only to realize gorilla grills come from the tannins in their diet. And for reference, tannins are the same ingredient that makes coffee bitter. And I think that's just gorillas in a nutshell. They look like they could do an absolute number on the human population, but I could not find one verified case of a gorilla murking a person. Attempts may have been made, but if you watch this video, you know she basically begged for it. Plus, it's captivity. In the wild,
I mean, there must have been. It's like all that muscle. There must have been one random occurrence where some shit happened. Humans were being an asshole, and yeah, gorilla just went ape shit. Like that must have happened.
Actively have to try to get gorilla gloves put on you. They genuinely give you every possible warning before they do. And even if you ignore the chest beat, the flashing teeth, and all the other signs a gorilla might give you, usually the most they'll ever do is bluff charge. Now let me not be ridiculous, a gorilla could absolutely turn you into a human jigsaw puzzle. And for all I'm talking, a bluff charge from a gorilla would have my soul pump faking the higher power. But gorillas got stuck with the monster label, which means it distracted people from the fact that they're the most unserious animals on Earth. What do I mean? Well, you remember what I said about silverbacks being fathers? Well, this is Koko. Koko is a proud father of 4 who loves nothing more than to play with his children. Problem is, sometimes his mate isn't too eager to let him rock with such a small baby, so in all of Koko's infinite wisdom, he came up with a solution. He f***ing kidnapped her. Repeatedly. And yes, he did this with all his children, proving it really is a game to him. I'm sorry, you can't, you're telling me I'm supposed to be afraid of this? This is chronically unserious. But not unsurprising, gorillas have a genuine sense of humor. Had Marion Cooper have known, King Kong might have had a different storyline. Like Exhibit B, watch enough gorilla videos.
They just have enough of intelligence to act certain humanish behavior, right? With the facial expression, just like playing around. That is very weird when you see it in real life, right? Like somebody who doesn't look like human but has certain human trait. Obviously, like have limbs and face and everything that closely resembles human compared to everything else, like cats and fish and fucking elephant or whatever. So when you see something like that and it's big size, bigger than you, it's something, right? I don't know, man. You can watch all the videos like this, but it would be completely different when you go and actually witness a gorilla.
And you'll notice they have an interesting habit of grenading, as in they'll throw something and immediately run away like Skeletor. Now you could argue it's a territorial, non-verbal way to tell humans to F off, But that goes against my narrative, so I'm gonna disregard it. Also, they've done it so many times exactly like this. It's like, how am I not supposed to see this as a prank? And if you need more proof,
prank,
Koko, the
big
sign language
fucking rock.
speaking gorilla, once tied her caretaker's shoelaces together and then signed the word chase. Now I know there's been a dispute as
Yeah, when it comes to monkeys, my biggest fear is they can literally take a fucking rock and throw at you and split your head open. That's a fear, right? They might not even realize like they're doing that, right? They might, oh, it's funny prank or whatever. That's fucked up.
to whether Koko actually learned sign language or was just a master mimic that learned sign language the same way dogs learn words like sit. There's a much more nuanced conversation to be had on whether Koko was a genuine case of comprehension or just memorization and regurgitation. But that's not why I'm mentioning her here. It's because she was involved in one of the most absurd lawsuits I've ever read. In 2005, 3 female former staff members filed a lawsuit against the Gorilla Foundation, because allegedly Koko was demanding that the workers flash her, and no, I do not mean with lights. According to Nancy Alperin and Kendrick Keller, program director Francine Patterson told them that Koko had an obsession of the mammary variety and pressured them to expose their upper halves to the gorilla, even implying that their jobs would be in danger if they refused. They refused. And some of the quotes that will come out of this suit are almost too ridiculous to be real. And apparently Koko did not discriminate, with one man recounting a time Koko went up to him and demanded to see his human headlights, at a party no less. He didn't even say no, he said later, and according to him, Patterson put an arm around him and basically hit him with the, "Do you really want to say no to her?" There were other complaints like unpaid overtime, dangerous work environment, them apparently storing gorilla urine in the same fridge they ate out of, but none as outrageous as a 350-pound bosom bandit. Especially when you find out Patterson would switch up majorly when big-time donors came around. What do I mean? Well, apparently whenever Koko would make one of her requests in front of a possible benefactor, Patterson would just say, "Oh, you know, nipple sounds like people." So what she's really saying is she wants to see more people. Yeah, they should have read the verdict right there, because who even lies like that? I don't
When he said they want Koko, will be like, word? Yeah, come on, man, you're reaching. Everybody knows what I'm doing here. Come on.
think that's how sign language works. The case was settled out, of course, so I guess we'll never know, but to be fair, how would multiple people lie about something like that? It means gorillas are the only animals to be formally accused of harassment of the sensually explicit kind, but it also proves that gorillas are just like us. They can multitask and focus
What the hell is a hashtag me too? I don't understand that. First gorilla to ever be.
on 2 things at once. I mean, they only share 98% of our DNA, and for the loud minority that's gonna somehow take offense, or make it racist, because I read the comments. I challenge you to spend a day watching a gorilla and tell me it's not an impulsive human in a fursuit. Like, I bet half of y'all didn't even realize that's a gorilla walking in the background. Yeah, this is a pretty unserious video. For a
I like I was just walking like, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Yeti doesn't exist, but some gorilla pretending to walk weirdly to just troll people. I wouldn't be surprised at.
remarkably unserious creature, but the point wasn't really to Disneyfy a wild animal. That's arguably as bad as turning them into monsters. But there is so much more to gorillas than a fade with Godzilla or the US Army, and I kinda wanted to show that. Especially when you realize gorillas have been getting slaughtered for as long as we've known about them, for bushmeat, for trophies, pets, and sometimes just for the sport, so us calling them dangerous is kinda wild. But I get it, talk is cheap when it's in front of a green screen. So if this video gets 200,000 likes, I will meet a gorilla in person. Somewhere. Or an orangutan, and that works too. But until then, drink water,
How about a chimpanzee?
hug your mother, never smile at a gorilla. Fun fact, clearing your throat sends a much better message. And I'ma see y'all in the next one.
Oh, that's a good shot. She's looking like dead at it.
That was something. Love that shit. Gorillas are awesome, man. Like the intelligence they show, right? Yeah, there might be one of the only animals who's just intelligent enough to be goofy like that. Because elephants are really intelligent, but they're intelligent enough to be like more, I don't know, stoic, serious, right? They can be goofy, like kids are goofy, like kids, whatever. Like elephant babies are goofy. But yeah, not the adults. But yeah, the gorillas might be just intelligent enough to be goofy, right? I don't know how to say that. That's something. Obviously, gorillas can be dangerous. Don't just try to fuck with them or something, like play with them, right? Obviously, he just said that in the end of the video, like you can't put them in either spectrum. any animal that can basically, you know, like big enough to like hurt you, you shouldn't mess with it. It's an animal, right? But yeah, that's also something. Alright, well, if you like my Rick, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.